All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about how your project management office, your PMO, can flip the script. How it can go from being seen as just a support function to becoming a truly essential strategic partner in your organization. So, let's just kick things off with a really important question for anyone in the PMO world. Take a second and think about it. How do people really see your PMO right now? Are you the team they come to for strategic advice, or are you the team they just send administrative tasks to? That's really the big question we're tackling today. And you can see the difference laid out right here, clear as day. On one side, you've got the old school view. The PMO is reactive, it's focused on paperwork, it's a cost center, and it basically just follows orders. But on the other side, that's the goal. A proactive, value-driven team that actually creates value and helps shape the company's strategy. Making that jump is everything. So how do you actually make that leap? Well, the way to do it, according to the great material we're looking at today, is this powerful idea called the value proposition flywheel. You can think of this as the engine that's going to power your PMO's transformation. Okay, before we get any deeper, let's make sure we're all on the same page about what a value proposition even is. This isn't just some fluffy mission statement. It's a promise, a really clear and compelling promise of the specific value you're going to deliver by solving the actual problems, the real pain points of your customers. And yes, your internal teams, your stakeholders, they're your customers. Now, this promise doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's the absolute heart of a bigger system, the PMO flywheel. This is a cycle that never stops. It's all about continuously creating value. And while every part is important, the one we're zeroing in on today is that critical third step, the value proposition, because it's the gear that connects everything else. Okay, so we get the what and the why. Time to roll up our sleeves and get into the how. This next section is all about the practical steps of crafting your core promise, how to turn a bunch of data and complaints into a story so compelling that people can't help but get on board. It really breaks down into these three logical steps. You can't just jump to the end, right? First, you gotta listen and really understand the problem. Then, you can figure out how you might solve it. And only then can you wrap it all up into a clear, powerful promise. Let's break them down. So, step one, this is all about becoming a detective. You have to go way beyond just guessing what people want. We're talking about digging into everything, reports, survey results, one-on-one interviews, to find the real issues. Then you organize them, figure out what's a must-have versus a nice-to-have, and create these super detailed pain point profiles so everyone understands the problem. All right, so once you've diagnosed the pain, it's time to find the cure. This is the fun part. You shift from pure analysis to creative problem solving. Get people in a room, run some how might we sessions, and just get all the ideas out there. Then you get realistic, check what's actually feasible, and start grouping ideas to find those golden opportunities that'll have the biggest impact. And this right here, honestly, this is the magic formula. This simple little template is your golden ticket to clarity. It forces you to be specific, like for our marketing team who struggles with juggling too many projects, our new resource management service provides clear visibility into everyone's workload. See how that works? It's specific, it's focused, and it's all about the benefit. Okay, but listen, there's a huge trap here you have to avoid. This is not something you cook up in a lab by yourself. You absolutely have to take these ideas back to your customers. Show them what you're thinking, get their honest feedback, and get them to formally sign off. This isn't just about being polite, it's about making sure you're building something they actually need and will use. So you've defined your promise. You got the buy-in. You're done, right? Nope, not even close. A truly great value proposition isn't a document you write once and forget about. It's a living commitment. Think of it less like a stone tablet and more like a living, breathing thing that has to grow and change with the business. To keep it alive, you need a rhythm, a cadence of continuous improvement. That means you're always gathering feedback. You're doing small check-ins every quarter to make minor adjustments. And once a year, you do a deep dive to make sure you're still aligned with the big picture. And just as important, you have to be brave enough to say, you know what, this service isn't cutting it anymore. Let's retire it. And look, this stuff doesn't just happen by magic. You have to build the machinery to make it work. We're talking about creating real structures, like a review board made up of your actual customers, a formal system for collecting feedback, a process for documenting what you're learning. It's all about building a real culture of getting better all the time. Okay, theory is great, but how do you know if you're actually winning? How can you prove your impact? That's what this last section is all about, and we're gonna make it super practical. In fact, let's do a little gut check right here, right now. We're gonna use a question inspired by the framework in our source material just to see where you might be starting from. It's just one question, but it's a big one. Okay, be honest with yourself. On a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is we never do this and 5 is we are absolute rock stars at this, how would you score your team on that statement? Do you really analyze all that feedback to deeply understand what your customers need? This is step 1 of the whole process. So think about your number. Maybe you're a 3. Hey, that's okay. A lot of PMOs are probably hovering around there. But the goal, the place where you become that strategic powerhouse, that's a 5. And that gap right there, that's your opportunity. Now, that one question is just a tiny snapshot. The full self-assessment in our source material has 25 questions. And when you add it all up, the magic number, the score you're shooting for to be considered truly excellent, is somewhere in this range, between 113 and 125 points. And getting a score like that, well, that means you've made it. It's proof. It means you're not just saying you deliver value, you're actually doing it day in and day out. It means you're a true strategic partner. So, getting that value proposition nailed down is the absolute foundation. But it's not the end of the story. The next chapter, as our source material lays out, is all about turning those big promises into a real catalog of services that your team can deliver consistently. And that's where we'll leave it for today. But I want you to walk away with this one question really buzzing in your head. Based on everything you know right now, what's the one nagging problem, the one pain point that you could start building a killer value proposition for starting tomorrow?